post is gaining attention, claiming that if you've been buying the S&P 500 since the year 2008, and I'm quoting here, you have made zero money. Not a little money, zip, zero. And the chart attached to it shows the index up nearly 393%. So either basic arithmetic has stopped working, or this claim is wrong. Here's why this matters. Even if you think the claim is obviously silly, posts like this one rack up tens of thousands of shares because they sound like insider truth. Like they're using real sounding words like currency debasement and inflation, and they show a real chart. And they end with a confident prediction that the next crash will make the Great Depression look like a slightly bad weekend. That is a big claim. And if you're investing right now, especially if you're new or if you're nervous about the market being at all-time highs, claims like this can talk you out of decades of compound growth. So today I'm going to do three things. One, we're going to run the actual math on what a buyer in 2008 actually made. Two, we're going to steelman the strongest version of the argument because there is a steelman version. And three, telling you what I personally think about the bubble question, because I'm not going to pretend that the market is cheap. It's not. Okay, so let's start with what's literally on the chart in the post. S&P 500, October 2007 peak, 1565. Today, as I'm recording it, it's right around 7,400. That's over 4.6 times. In percentage terms, you've gone up roughly 360% if you bought at the absolute worst possible moment, the day before the crash. If you bought anywhere else in the last 18 years, you probably did better. But if you bought at March 2009 at the bottom, your S&P 500 shares are up almost 10 times. That's 14.7% annualized return for 17 years. But the post says inflation. Okay, so let's do inflation properly. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, a dollar in 2007 has a purchasing power of about $1.59 today. So the total cumulative inflation since the peak before the crash is about 59%. Here's the part that the post hopes that you don't do. If your investment is up 360% and inflation is up 59%, you don't subtract those numbers, you divide. And when you do the division, the real inflation-adjusted return at the worst possible buy point is 189%. You tripled your money in real purchasing power. That is the opposite of zero. But here's what really nukes the claim. Nobody at all, especially as I read through the comments, who actually buys the S&P 500 just buys the index. You buy things like VOO, SPY, or your 401k plan, which is the S&P 500 fund. And every single one of those funds reinvest dividends. The chart in the viral post is the price index. It literally doesn't include dividends. That's not just a footnote. That's a massive omission. Over the last 20 years, the S&P 500's total returns with dividends reinvested is about 11.8% per year. Inflation adjusted, that's 8.1% per year annualized for 2 decades. So let me put this in real numbers. If you put $10,000 into the S&P 500 at the absolute worst time, which was October 2007, right before the crash, and you reinvested dividends, today you would have around $62,000. In real, inflation-adjusted 2007 purchasing power dollars, about $39,000. You almost quadrupled your real wealth, even buying at the worst possible day in a generation. Zero. The post said zero. Now, I've told you that I'd give you the strongest version of this argument because I think it's important to engage with the best case for a claim, not the worst case. So here it is. When the post says currency debasement, they're usually talking about something specific, not just CPI inflation. They're talking about something called M2. And M2 is a broad measure of how much US dollar currency exists in the system. And M2 has exploded since 2008. We went from about 7.5 trillion to over $22 trillion. That roughly tripled. If you divide the S&P 500 by M2, basically asking, is the stock market growing faster than the money supply itself? You get a chart that looks a lot flatter. The ratio has gone up over the period, but not by 360%. More like maybe 50 to 70%, depending on how you draw it. Here's where I'd push back though. M2 is not what you spend your money on. You don't pay rent in M2. You don't buy groceries in M2. CPI is imperfect, but it's measuring actual prices that people pay. M2 is a measure of the bathtub of dollars. CPI measures the cost of what's in your cart. They're different questions. So when somebody divides the stock market by M2 and tells you that's your real return, what they're really telling you is that the stock market hasn't outgrown the entire dollar system, which, okay, sure, in a sense, but that's not the same as you made zero money because nobody buys bread with M2. Okay, the second claim, the post says that this chart is a clear indication that we're in yet another financial bubble. And when it pops, it'll make 2008 and possibly the Great Depression look like a slightly bad weekend. And I'm going to give you my honest answer here because I am an overthinker by default. I overthink everything. So if anyone in this comment section is going to talk themselves into a bear case, it's probably going to be me. Is the market expensive right now? Yes. Forward PE ratios are elevated. The Shiller PE is in the top 10% of all readings historically. Concentration in the top 10 names is extreme. There are real reasons to expect lower returns over the next decade compared to the last one. But, and this is the part that the doomsday poster skipping, expensive doesn't mean Great Depression. The Great Depression saw a stock market drop 89% over 3 years, with unemployment hitting 25%, no FDIC, no Social Security, banks failing in chains. We have, whatever you think of our policymakers, vastly more institutional shock absorbers now. A 30 or 40% correction is possible. A correction worse than 1929, you'd need a series of black swan events that no chart can predict. And honestly, I think we'd be in a bigger shock than we would expect. So the honest answer is this. The market is rich. Returns over the next decade could potentially be lower than the last one. And a correction in the 20 to 30% range at some point is basically a certainty because that happens roughly every 5 years anyway. But the next crash will make the Great Depression look like a bad weekend is not analysis. It's fear marketing. And I bet at some point they're going to try to pitch you to buy a course or invest in their thing that will make you richer. Here's the practical takeaway. If you saw a post and felt a little bit scared, here's what you could do to get ahead of it. 1, never sell out of your portfolio because of a Facebook post or a YouTube video. Ever. The cost of getting market timing wrong is brutal. Miss the 10 best days of any given decade and your return gets cut by more than half. 2, if you're nervous about valuations, the answer is not to exit. The answer is to make sure your asset allocation is actually matching your time horizon and your stomach. If a 30% drop would force you to sell because you're scared, you're too heavy in stocks. That's not a market problem, that's an allocation problem. 3, keep buying. I'm going to keep buying every month the same way I have. When the market dropped earlier this year, I did a video on this. I bought more and it worked out. I showed you my actual results as a result of doing that, right? But I want to be honest. That's not because I'm clever. I'm not. I'm just an average dude. It's because that's just the plan. And my plan runs when the plan needs to run. It's a process, right? Boring plans beat brilliant predictions. And 4, and this is the broader one, when somebody on the internet shows you a chart and tells you it means the opposite of what it visually says, get very suspicious. The chart went up. That's what the chart says. The math is the math. We need to put an end to all of this fear-mongering because at the end of the day, they're just after your money, disguised as intellectual claims. Look, the next crash is going to come, eventually. Every single market in human history has had crashes. We should expect it. But there will be a crash and you've made zero money since 2008 are not the same statement. And a viral post that conflates the two is not doing you any favors. So if you found this video useful, the video I made a few weeks ago on what I did during that recent dip is right up here. It's the same playbook, different moment. And if you want to make sure you don't miss when I break down the next one of these claims, subscribe. Keep building your sharp money. And we'll see you on the next video.